Welcome back to Black Enterprise Business Report. Americans are taking various steps to steel themselves in this harsh economic environment. But how much have you thought about education? Are you really ready for a changing workforce? Ryan Mack, president of Optimum Capital Management and author of Living in the Village, is here to talk about what you need to do to invest in your education now.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for coming in. Education is a huge area, and a lot of people are looking to go back to school, get certifications, further degrees, and so forth. Finance is a big issue here. Yeah. How does one go about financing that sort of thing?
Well, essentially, we have to have a few things you want to put in place first. First of all, we have to put together a budget, understanding exactly how much money you're spending, because individuals might have to take out additional loans to make sure that they might be currently investing in the stock market, but do they want to continue to do that if it's going to impact their ability to pay back those loans?
And how does one go about even budgeting for such a process?
Well, essentially, you need to find the money. The first part is you need to go to websites like collegenet.com and various things. There are a lot of different grants out there for single parents and a lot of things where you can just walk down to the community college, and if you're income eligible, you might even be able to go to school for free. Then you have to turn maximizing your budget. If you have to take out additional loans, that might impact your ability to pay your day-to-day expenses, but you shouldn't be using those loans to pay your day-to-day expenses rather, but making sure that those loans go towards colleges. So you really want to make sure you're looking at every nickel and dime. Then you want to maximize your taxable deductions. Many individuals don't know that they can take out a 529 plan essentially for themselves. A 529 plan is essentially you put money into a plan, you get a tax deduction, and then that money grows tax deferred. And then when you use that money towards college expenses, then you're able to take that money, and the growth is essentially tax free. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you mitigate the risk by looking at your current investment strategy and diversifying your portfolio in such a way that you make sure that if you're using too much money on your college expenses, as opposed to putting money into the investment strategy, then you might want to talk to a qualified financial advisor to make sure you're doing the best strategy.
Important not to count your employer out here too, because there may be funds available through your job.
Yes.
They may be willing to finance that for you.
Exactly. I mean, this is the time where you really have to just scrape the bottom of the barrel, and every single dollar really counts towards your education. A lot of employers, especially if you're going to continue to get your MBA and work for them, they might pay for your entire education for free. So talk to your employer, talk to the HR benefits department, again, talk to the student aid department, do as much as you can and dig it as much as possible to make sure you're getting the background of where you can get those additional dollars from.
It seems to me this is a process where you also have to really manage your expectations. How do you decide whether making the necessary sacrifices, financial and time-wise, is a worthwhile investment?
And that's a great question, because the first question you have to ask is, what is my goal in going back to school? A lot of people look at going back to school as it's almost like a vacation. It's a hard job market. Maybe if I can just go back and get my MBA by the time I graduate, it'll be better again, but you don't really necessarily have a clear plan. You know, look and do a survey analysis of the different type of skill sets in your particular area that are most in demand. I mean, certain things might be in demand in your particular area that you might want to have a particular interest in. So then go back to school for those type of certifications, those type of educational strategies, so you can use that towards something that's beneficial that you actually want to do in the long run, and you haven't wasted a whole lot of money just for the simple fact you can get an MBA or additional certifications.
Right, so we're not always talking about a degree program here.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to go to school for years. It
Exactly.
may be one course. It may be a specific certification with a finite time period.
Right. Like you said, a lot of Ivy League schools, they have different programs that you can actually use for free, and you might be able to get a certification, or there's different, I mean, where I live in New York, we actually suggest individuals go down to organizations like HPD to get a construction certification or some sort of certification that is free and offered available. For 8 weeks later on, now you have a certification that you can use that to become more marketable, and you can transfer that knowledge from different places even if you want to relocate.
Online options, what's your feeling about those offerings?
Well, I do feel, again, any education, as long as it's certified, a lot of these additional education, a lot of these colleges now, it's almost like a scam when we get additional education was not necessarily certified or not recognized as a qualified place in order to get your education from. So just because you're getting your education from someplace and you're spending a whole lot of additional dollars does not mean that's the best education for you. You want to make sure you're certified. You want to make sure that when you get that degree, you're talking to different references, you're talking to the people in the student aid, and you're talking to the career counselors to make sure that that degree actually means something towards other employers. And when you graduate, they can say, you know what, we actually take credit and respect the degree that you got, so you can make sure you made your wise investment.
So you're saying basically if you're going to make the investment, get the biggest bang for your buck in your time.
I mean, this is what it's all about. I mean, we're in a hard economy right now, and essentially all these employees are pared down their workforce, and individuals with particular skill sets are wondering, okay, what am I supposed to do now? there's really only three major options. The first option is starting your own business with that skill set. The second option is relocating to where that skill set is still in demand. The third option is going back and getting additional skill sets so you can start making yourself more marketable within that particular area so you don't have to move and still get that job.
Thank you so much, Ryan. You're always great.
Appreciate you.
For more information on continuing education and how you can invest in yours, log on to blackenterprise.com. When we come back,
Our Entrepreneur of the Week reveals what attributes you need to win over clients. We'll be right back.